Story 1. My girlfriend F23 says she resents me because of my M25 living situation and went on a date with another man to get back at me. So, we've been dating for 4 years. She's from a Bangladeshi Muslim background, only including this because it's relevant to her justification, and I am a generic white male. Met in uni, and didn't have any major issues till we relocated after college about 2 years ago. We both moved to a city, where she began working in her field and I began graduate studies at a different university. Originally, the intention was to move in together. Her family lives quite far away, and she is grossed out by my local family. They're low-income white, so their home can be Jeff Foxworthy's yard of the week level, and I understand it, but they have always been accepting of her personally, at least. So the only other people she had to interact with in this area were a few uni friends, and plans changed when, around the same time, my grandfather suffered a stroke and my grandmother struggled to care for him because my other family members live 4 hours away. Since I was local, I decided to move in with my grandparents to help, and I thought this would work out because their home is roughly equidistant to my university and my girlfriend's apartment. It's 45 minutes in either direction, with my GFS apartment being roughly 2 hours from uni and vice versa. My girlfriend did not like this arrangement because she doesn't handle being alone well. I attempted to mitigate this by driving from university to her apartment every day after class. However, I preferred to spend the night with my grandparents due to their health issues. I have a close neighbor who could sit with them during the day, but not at night. My GF hated this, and would cry and yell at me every time I left at night. She'd call me a bum, because I haven't gotten a real job yet, a grandparent's boy, and other things. This came to a head about a year ago when she was in a car accident. It was minor, and she suffered no injuries, but she was stranded on the side of the road. I was at university at the time, and she called me to come pick her up. It's about 2 hours from my uni to the crash site, so I left immediately. When I was about 45 minutes away, she called back saying, "I can't depend on you for anything, you have no values or else you'd be here." Other men would be here for me, and told me she'd called her work friend instead who was closer to her. He took her to the home, and I walked in to find them talking in her bedroom. No cheating occurred, but it felt weird to me. After he left, she really berated me about how I abandoned her, and that she could be happier with a brown guy who prioritizes her. It should be noted her work friend is Emirati. Then she took shots at my family, saying we have no values if they raised someone like me, and that she resented me for leaving her alone at night. Whatever, water off a duck's back. She's always been very hyperbolic when she's mad, so I didn't think anything of it. And I tried to work on it by spending 3 or 4 nights at her apartment and making the 2-hour commute in the morning. This worked better than leaving at night, and things were going good. Until, my grandfather suffered another stroke and I wasn't there to help take him to the hospital. Luckily, my brother just happened to be visiting them at the time and he was able to help my grandmother get him to the ER. I left immediately after my brother texted me, and I forgot to inform my girlfriend. She slept through me getting dressed and closing the door. This pissed her off when she woke up, and she called me complaining that my grandfather needed to hurry up and die, and that, why to listen to these emergencies, nothing ever happens. This pissed me off, and I called her a bitch. She hung up and didn't talk to me for a week after this, and we only made up because I drove down and apologized for calling her a bitch. Which I acknowledge was wrong and I shouldn't have said. Things were status quo for the next 6 months or so, with our relationship being great when we were together, but terrible whenever I couldn't make the drive down. She always repeated the "no values" and "other men" speech whenever this happened. She also said that she carried a lot of resentment for the nights I made her spend alone, and that a brown guy would be a man and not let her feel that way. This is where the date comes in. Last week she visited her family in California, and they arranged a proposal for her. I'm not an expert in Bangladeshi Muslim culture, but her family regularly has tried to match-make with her. She has never told her family about me since I haven't completed graduate school, as she says they wouldn't accept me because the proposals are from men aged 30 to 40 with law or business careers and I can't compete with that. Usually she'd simply tell her family no, but she said she felt so much resentment that she told them yes this time. She said that she wanted to see what an established man could bring to her life, and that she was tired on waiting on me to finish graduate school, my grandfather dying. So they go on a date, and ultimately she said no. But, she said I had no right to be angry because it's a cultural thing and that I drove her to this point by not being there for her. Now, I understand that my situation isn't ideal and that choosing a closer university would have been better, but I chose this university because they gave me the best financial package. Also, I'm doing this because it will allow me to get a better paying position with a higher career ceiling. I feel driven to do this because I need to beat out the proposal people for her family to accept me, and I just wish she'd be more understanding. I feel inadequate and like a terrible person because if I prioritize my grandparents, my girlfriend mentally spirals. If I prioritize my girlfriend, my grandfather could die. No matter what I do, someone's disappointed and let down. My grades have stayed stable luckily, but I have had to cut down on work-study hours to drive both distances, so my income is also suffering. I really love this woman, I wouldn't do all this if I didn't, but I don't know how I can do more to show her that I'm trying. She acts like I'm not, and it's so defeating to feel like everything is constantly in question. I just wish she could understand the strain I'm under, and be a little bit more empathetic till my grandfather passes and I graduate. Sorry for the length, writing this was cathartic and I overshared a bit. If anyone has ever been in a similar situation, how did this turn out? I just want some advice on how to manage dealing with someone who can't handle being alone, if you can't be there with them for some other reason. TLDR. My girlfriend went on a date with another man because I chose to stay with my ill grandparents and it caused her to resentment me. Story 2. Girlfriend 25F not recognizing my 26M sensitivity towards her growing friendship with her admirer. So me 26M and my 25F girlfriend were both medical students from a Middle Eastern country when we met around 1.5 years ago. We both have a plan to migrate to US for our career. I have recently graduated and she will too in a month or two. Our relationship began around 16 months ago when after spending some time together in a hospital and getting to know each other, I asked her for a date and so our journey began. We went out 6 to 7 times the first month and by that time it had grown into a more romantic affair and we tended to grow more fond of each other. One hiccup happened when after a month into our relationship, one of our colleagues asked her for a date with the knowledge that she has just started dating with me, of course didn't knowing the full extent and details of our relationship. He also asked her to not say anything to me about this, but she didn't comply as she considered me her partner and so I was a bit confused and tense about his request but didn't talk with him or anything. She politely refused his request but they stayed in contact afterwards, sharing funny and playful thing on Instagram or meeting each other for a coffee every month or so. It didn't bother me and I felt safe and assured. 4 months later in late 2022, our family application for U.S. green card permanent residency which was halted since Trump administration got into motion out of nowhere and after going for medical exams, sending documents and 7 months into our relationship, I visited U.S. and had to stay for about 40 days as for the process of green card issuance. During my trip I missed some occasions like her first birthday together and her last day of medical school. Although being understanding to my situation and why I was away for Thea long. This made her insecure about me not prioritizing our relationship and also being able to immigrate quicker and alone, having a green card. It's worthwhile to mention that in my country you have some obligations to the government which you have to fulfill: military service, working in hospitals for a specified time, before being able to free your degree and apply for other countries, and my time frame is about 6 to 12 months ahead of her based on her choice. She can select the more difficult program which will last shorter and many would consider it because they would free their degrees quicker. All of these made her think that after getting my degree I wouldn't stick around for long and so, her imagination and perfect expectations were shattered and she was faced with the new reality. She would ask me, why the idea of marriage was so improbable in my mind? And that, she would need some assurance like that to be hopeful and trusting of our relationship longevity. Which I explained that I can't consider marriage while we have just had past our first-year mark and also, with the long road of immigration ahead of us. I need a more stable environment and settled career for both of us to think about it. So, I won't marry until we both have applied for the same city, state where I would be assured that we would be beside each other and have the same path ahead of us. All of these made her reevaluate her mindset on our relationship as she felt I was not dedicated to her completely. This arguments happened around 2 months ago and our relationship has cooled down a bit since. Coincidentally, with and after these arguments, she started meeting the mentioned colleague much more frequent. It started as him giving my girlfriend a hand on her thesis writing codes for data analysis. But they proceeded to have these work dates, as she would call them, in her house. And all of their work dates had to have taken place without me, as he would feel uncomfortable with my presence. Due to issues that happened last year, and I was informed that he has a feeling for my partner. During these meetings I would sometimes call my GF to catch up to him, but she would reject me or send me a call you later text after my second or third call. I asked about the reason, and she told that he was getting upset that she would be answer me when he's around, and he would feel that he's just there to work on her thesis while she's spending time with her boyfriend, be it on phone and even when it's only 2 minutes. I was furious with this explanation and mentioned some of my concerns, as I thought him being too much in her life is affecting ours. But she stated that, I know he has a feeling for me but I don't, and we're just friends, so you don't need to worry. Also, I'm not the same person as 2 months ago, cause you're not solving my trust issue on the matter of migration, and I had to sabotage our relationship in my mind and downgrade it so I wouldn't get heartbroken when you would leave about a year from now. I asked whether she meant about the marriage when she mentioned solving problems, and she said that you suggesting to apply sooner means that our relationship is breakable at any moment, and she needs a guarantee that I would prioritize our relationship more. I was unconvinced and thought these two problems are separate things and one doesn't justify the other, but decided to defer my disappointment for a few weeks so her thesis writing process wouldn't get affected by a more hostile environment. During this period they would watch movies together in her house after allegedly working on thesis, and he would buy her a picture frame reminiscent of those movies. So we are here now, where I'm deeply concerned about the level and progression of my GF relationship with him, which even she admits that she knows that he has feelings for her. But she ignores and undermines them by stating that, this is just a friendship cause I have set my boundaries with him, and even if I wanted to cheat, it wouldn't be with him. I feel like I can't have this relationship with him being around my girlfriend to an extent where their meetings are always with them too, and he even has the audacity to ask my GF not to answer my calls when he's around cause he feels uncomfortable. I know immigration issues are a source of huge stress for couples, and with green card my path is invariably easier than her, but her expectation of marriage or waiting a year for her to apply together is unconvincing for me. My applying and going to states sooner won't limit her chances of immigration and may actually help us as with a more stable condition when she arrives, assuming that after a year I have adapted to the environment. Even if I didn't have a green card, it's unwise and damaging to my career chances to just wait a year, and many couples vying for immigration face the same problems. So I think my questions are my concerns justified, or am I just eluding things? Is there any way I'm misreading things and being threatened by their so-called friendship because of our recent relationship fragility and doubts despite him clearly having feelings for her? I know a healthy relationship shouldn't lead to one asking their partner to break all ties with a friend or anyone else, and it can be a sign of toxicity, but is it justified in some situations such as mine? Even if she does that, I don't believe that our main problem of immigration trust issues will go away, but I felt like it's the necessary step towards correcting a behavior that was already on a wrong track. Does having doubts and concerns about our future 1 or 2 years from now justify the lack of commitment and dedication that I feel she is having towards me? Me and GF were in a healthy relationship until she became disappointed and insecure of the possibility of me immigrating without her. She has since become more distant while getting more intimate with one of her admirers, which she denies anything more than a friendship happening and doesn't think my frustration is justified. Story 2. Planned on marrying my girlfriend, now I lost trust in her and it's eating away at me. Background. I'm absolute broken and don't know what to do because I felt so strongly for her. Planned the next years of my life around what she'd be doing, and was 100% set on getting married to her and having kids mutual. We've been together for 3 years, and everyone I know, myself included, thinks she's the sweetest girl they know. She does lots of little things that make me think she truly loves me, and only has good things to say to our friends and her family. I've never questioned our relationship and truly think she'd be the last person in the world that would cheat. Over the years, she's had a few guys message her trying to seduce her, and she's always shared the messages and we've responded jokingly to them before she blocked them. We are also very open with our phones, message each other's friends, look stuff up when we can't find our phones, etc. What happened? We were sitting and I grabbed her phone to look something up. A notification of a message popped up saying something like, "Thanks for the help, I still love you so much." I wasn't gonna think anything of it. I figured it would be another guy to laugh at. But she asked for her phone back, deleted the message, and wouldn't let me see what she was doing for the next 2 or so minutes. Apparently she went on Snapchat, wouldn't let me see her screen because she was pulling up her passwords, and didn't want me to see all of them. She said she deleted the guy on Snapchat and blocked his number while I wasn't looking. Who this guy is? They met a year before we got together, while she was on vacation. She says she hung out with him once, clicked with him, and flirted a little. When we got together she apparently told him she's no longer single and just sees him as a friend. Apparently they stayed in contact, he'd send her memes and music, but she mostly ignored his messages. The only time she spoke to him was when he was going through stuff and needed someone to listen to him. She admitted she likes having people confide in her and being there for people. This is true. He said she was the only one that really listened to him, etc. Can't confirm any of this because she deleted everything. He also got drunk once and sent her messages about how she's so nice to him and he still has feelings for her. Why he said "I love you." Apparently he became homeless, and had no one that was as nice as my GF. She really is nice and would always help people. She even kept contact open with her ex who abused her in case he needed help. She really does hate him and blocked him before we got together and asked my GF to make him an Indeed so he could find a job. Hence why he said "thanks for the help, I still love you" or whatever. Her explanation. We had been having semi-big arguments every few days over the last couple months, so she said she was on edge and didn't want to give me a reason to get upset. In general, she's a pretty emotional person, and had some huge drama with her family that made her extra emotional. This is true. I comforted her sobbing one of the previous days, so she was extra on edge and realized she shouldn't have kept contact open with this guy that clearly still had feelings for her. I want to believe her because I've never had this kind of connection before, and absolutely never doubted her before. I'm becoming jealous and insecure, which I've never been in my life, and have no idea where to go from here. Story 4. Story of how I ran away at 13. This happened around 3 years ago. I 13M had just moved from the UK to the Middle East with my siblings and my dad. For context, I have 11 siblings in total as of right now. All share the same dad but different mothers. The oldest children my dad has are from his first wife, my mother. So I only have 3 blood siblings, which are the ones living with me and my dad at this time. After we moved, my dad remarried for the 7th time and all went well until he starts physically abusing my stepmother. To no surprise, this 3-month-old marriage ended prematurely and she resorted to running away back to her family. So now my dad apparently needs a new wife and no more than 3 weeks go by till he remarries. This was his most recent marriage and I attended it along with my 3 older siblings. After the ceremony came to a close, my dad came and told us that he'll be spending 2 weeks with her for their honeymoon, and that we'd have to fly back to our hometown alone. At this point I had already been planning on running away for at least 2 months. I was tired of the abuse, emotionally and mentally I couldn't bear it, so I saw this as a golden opportunity where my dad couldn't stop me even if he wanted to. I took the opportunity. When we got home after a very long flight, my brothers decided to go and sleep over at my cousin's house, which is only an 8-minute drive from where we lived. So I told them to drop me off at home, then go to my cousin's house, and they did exactly that. So now I'm home alone for the next 2 days, and this seemed like the best time to pull it off, so I went for it. I called my mother, who also lives in the Middle East, not in the same country, and explained to her what I had been going through the past couple months, and she's horrified by what she just found out and is very compassionate. She agrees to help me by getting me a plane ticket. I thank her a lot and she books a ticket from the Middle East to the UK. Departure is at 11 a.m. and she sends me the ticket. It's around 12 p.m. at this point and I know I have to leave the house at 6, so I took a shower and started packing my 2 suitcases and a bag for carry-on. Charged all my devices, phone, PC, laptop, AirPods. Then I got all my clothes and some toiletries and shoved everything into the bags. Now it's around 6 am and my plan's in full action, and this is when it really set in that I don't have my passport. But guess where my passport is? It's in my dad's parked car at the airport due to his honeymoon. So I made a smart decision and took a spare key from my dad's car that I found in the safe at home. Then I proceeded to lock my room door so that if anyone knocks they just assume I am sleeping inside to buy me time. Now that I have everything I need, I sneak out quietly and go sit outside on a bench with all my stuff. I order an Uber from the place I was at to the airport, which is around an hour-long drive. Once I reach the airport, I go to the car park to try and find my dad's car, which has my passport inside it that I need. I swear to God I went through every single parked car that day. I found my dad's car, quickly grabbed my passport from the glove compartment and ran into the airport, attempting not to miss my flight. I get inside, check in and wait at the gate that was assigned for my flight. It was at this point where all the messages and missed calls from my siblings and dad start. Brothers asking where I went, dad shouting at me as usual, and everyone's very confused. I turn off my phone cause I was receiving disgusting, horrible messages from people in my family, and I decide board my flight. I was instantly relived after I stepped a foot in that plane, and I felt a whole new sense of freedom. After I landed, I don't really have anywhere to go, obviously, as a 13-year-old kid. I started calling my friends asking if I could stay over, and one girl said she could sneak me in for the night. That's where I first slept. Then in the morning I went to the police station, told them what happened, and they put me in foster care. Story 5. I 29M am a professor at a college. One of my students 25F has been behaving strangely with me. How do I deal with her? The student has been behaving in a strange manner and has been trying to get closer and closer to me. She seems obsessive or in need of affection. How do I deal with her? It is a women's college, there are no male students. The college timings are from 8 a.m. to 1 p.m., every day. Usually, she is a very well-behaved student, and doesn't cause any trouble in the classroom. Her academic performance is satisfactory as well. I know her for more than 1 year and a few months. I have praised her a lot in the past due to her good behavior and performance. Here are some behaviors from her which are unusual. Messaging me privately about any issues that are bothering her, or any struggles she faces while learning. I don't mind helping her, of course. It is my job. Messaging me privately on special days or festivals, to wish me, such as, Merry Christmas. Messaging me privately about her personal achievements and good academic performance. Like, sir, I scored 47/50 in the last test. Drawing me, she sketched and drew me multiple times and showed me. She is a good artist, but it was still unusual. Supporting me and taking my side when other students are bothering me, arguing unnecessarily in the classroom. Reacting to my text messages in the WhatsApp college group as soon as they arrive. Happens every single time. No matter at which time I send a message, morning, noon or evening, it doesn't matter. She's always the first and the quickest student to react to my message. She sent me a message recently about how she feels so good at the college, that she doesn't feel like going home. One day, she sent me a long letter full of appreciation like this. I really like how confident you are. You aren't afraid of expressing yourself. You appear confident and speak without hesitation. You express yourself directly and confidently. You often remain strong in stress and adversity. You don't lose hope and continue to fight back with all your strength. You have a strong willpower. You are direct and speak what you think, without any sugarcoating or ulterior motives. Sometimes you appear blunt, but that's okay. You are honest and speak your mind. You are not afraid of expressing yourself. You are very organized and structured. You don't allow any disorganization or mess. You can be very neat, proper and tidy in your work. You are precise and accurate. I really enjoy being organized as well. You are responsible and punctual. I have never seen you ever coming late to work. You have my utmost respect for being a responsible and reliable person. You are very hardworking. You are able to handle multiple responsibilities and tasks perfectly, without any mistakes. You are often efficient and work very well. I don't stop when I am tired, I stop when I am done, as quite true for you. You have a kind and soft side. You show your affection through gentle care and actions. You always help everyone and do as much as you can. You have a great sense of humor as well. You are fun to be around and you make me laugh when you are sarcastic. I have utmost respect and deep reverence for you for all these qualities. Thank you so much. That was just crazy. I was pleased to see that she notices such tiny details about me though. Of course, as a professor, the letter was flattering. She also gave I and all the professors a chocolate bar on her birthday. One day, I was in the college ground, in charge of decorations due to a celebration next day. We had already dismissed all classes at 10 a.m. There were some benches, far away from the garden. This girl sat there for 3 hours, she was already dismissed, yet she was there. She was looking at me from time to time as I was sat with other professors. I called her and asked her if she needed anything. I asked her why she hasn't gone home yet. She said she didn't need anything and she will leave at 1 p.m., the usual time. Does she like me or is flirting with me? Or is this her way of appreciating a teacher? Most of it is just unusual and creepy. How can I deal with her? Story 6. How do you let go of something that somebody did to you? I 21F am living with some roommates and my boyfriend. Roommates include 2F and 2M. A few months ago I was accused of stealing money from one of the females, Jen, not her real name. Her best friend, the other roommate Princess, called me downstairs to talk to me about it. I had told them I didn't and also had an alibi. Boyfriend also backed up my alibi with text messages. They both still didn't believe me and were cautious of me from then on. About a week goes by and I'm coming back from the gas station with breakfast and was heading up to my room. Jen started to yell at me for being too loud coming up the stairs. It's an old house with creaky floors and also they have baby gates that are metal. I apologized to her and genuinely felt bad for waking her up. She sleeps on the couch so I always try to be quiet. She said it wasn't good enough and I do it every morning. When I first moved in I apologized beforehand because I noticed it was loud. She said it was fine and would be no problem. I went on to my room and she started yelling at me and Princess came from downstairs and opened my door and accused me of slamming it. I called my boyfriend and told him what was going on. She left and I locked my door. They came back together moments later and was banging on my door and I ignored them because of my anxiety. They unlocked my door and started cussing me out and telling me to leave. Boyfriend pays rent so I had a right to be there. They finally leave after me say leave me alone about 15 times. Honestly kind of traumatized and violated by them breaking into my room. About a week goes by and Jen gets kicked out for being crazy and yelling at Princess's husband. I didn't have to worry about Jen anymore, so I thought. I got text messages and she joined a live stream of my old bosses and was harassing me about the money still even though it was resolved. Ended up blocking her. Jump forward to now. Princess lives here with her husband and it's honestly miserable. Every time I see her I'm just so angry for how she has treated me. Anytime she asks my boyfriend for anything it just worsens my mood and I don't know how much more I can take. They are also family. I forget to mention that boyfriend is brothers with the husband so it's not like I can tell him not to talk to them. Anytime I bring this up to my boyfriend it's like he doesn't get it. Like why do you have a problem with her kind of thing. I don't know how to deal with this and was hoping to find some help. Some ways to cope with how I feel. I don't feel like I could ever be friend with her again or even act like it.